Welcome to The Know, I'm Ashley.
And I'm Gus.
And one of Xbox's biggest criticisms this generation so far has been exclusives, and the company came out pretty hard against that stigma at E3, parading around just about anything they could possibly attach the word exclusive to, sometimes a little bit of tricky wordplay, sometimes launch exclusives, sometimes full exclusives.
We learned all kinds of new exclusives.
All kinds.
And since E3, they've been making a big deal about several other big unannounced titles in the works, but according to one industry insider, that may not be the case at all, and Microsoft is much more concerned about cutting costs than they are about investing in new games.
So, in other words, maybe don't get your hopes up too soon, but Microsoft has a ton of exclusives tucked away in its back pocket just waiting to come out, which that's exactly what I was doing. I was like, they're gonna do it. They're gonna go hard.
They're gonna stuff a bunch of exclusive money in their pocket instead.
Right.
And of course, we've got to kick this off with some major caveats since we're dealing with insiders and rumors.
Right. So, grain of salt, everyone. As for where this information comes from, where else but NeoGAF, where one poster who simply goes by the name Matt, creative name there, buddy, has been dropping some information about Microsoft's focus for the Xbox brand.
While using some dude named Matt as a source would seem fairly ridiculous on the surface.
I don't know. Matt sounds like a fairly official name. We've got a CEO named Matt.
That's true. Maybe it's him. This poster, it's not him, by the way. This poster has actually been a source for a couple of Xbox-related things in the past. For instance, when Scorpio was first revealed, he provided a tiny bit of information about the dev kits he'd seen. Again, maybe it's she. It might be misdirection, just saying that.
Matilda. So what's Matt saying this time? Well, in a conversation about Microsoft maybe pumping up their investment in exclusives, Matt hopped by with a little bit of knowledge about the topic and basically said, don't get your hopes up. Matt wrote, Microsoft is not meaningfully increasing their investments in or focus on first party. That could change. I would love for that to change, but it hasn't.
So what this means is that despite some of their recent talk, Microsoft might not be investing in all new IPs in the way they'd sort of led everyone to believe.
Well, as for why this is, exactly because I think everyone agrees that Xbox would benefit from more exclusives, Matt, well, he really needs a cooler name like Shinobi.
Maybe he wasn't a Shinobi fan.
You don't know. Okay, fine, that's
Maybe
fine.
he wasn't a Sega kid.
Well, Matt says that it's because the Xbox division itself hasn't exactly been knocking it out of the park, which is making Microsoft, the larger corporation, a little bit gun-shy about handing them a bunch of cash for new IPs and software development.
The insider went on to say in a separate post, it's really not that complicated even if we disagree. Their software efforts have underperformed this gen and the Xbox division doesn't have a blank check to do whatever they want. They have a focus on cost controls and profitability. Spending a lot on game dev doesn't fit into their view.
So that kind of fits with what we saw from Microsoft's financial statements last week, namely that Xbox hardware is significantly down almost 30%, which again, to be expected, especially with more powerful hardware coming out later this year. But most of their money at the moment is coming from adding new services and subscribers to Xbox Live.
It could be that Microsoft is perfectly content with where they're at in the console race this generation, not that the generation term applies to them anymore, and instead want to continue to bolster Xbox Live, which is where its biggest value seems to be.
And it is true, so far the exclusives haven't really been killing it for Microsoft in terms of sales. We saw that with Rise of the Tomb Raider, which did way better on PS4 than it did on Xbox One, for instance. There have been some other cases too where some of their biggest titles of the year, like Halo Wars 2, got nearly outperformed by 1-2 Switch in their first weeks on sale. And the Rise of the Tomb Raider I can kind of see because the PS4 install base is much bigger, but even their exclusives haven't performed where they've expected.
But of course some of this could be pure speculation. When pressed about what exactly he knew and how much he knew, the insider didn't really give too much away. However, he did indicate that it's possible he's wrong about this or doesn't have the complete picture. Maybe Matt is Don Matt trick.
Matt said, never said I know every penny. I said no meaningful change in investments. There could be things I don't know about or I'm wrong about something. I never claim to be infallible, but I know enough to have a pretty good view of the situation, hence the not speculation part.
It's worth noting here that he's not exactly saying Microsoft isn't making these games at all. He's just indicating that they're not drastically adjusting the level of investment. Although considering so far that the current level of investment hasn't been meeting fan expectations, maybe that's not helping all that much.
Right, and if Microsoft really isn't focusing on a number of new huge exclusives the way this insider claims, it would be a little bit different than some of the lip service they've been paying to fans since the conclusion of E3.
Last month, head of Xbox marketing, Aaron Greenberg, said there are a lot of projects still to come for Xbox and that the company was simply choosing not to talk about them at E3. Why would they? In an interview with Game Reactor, Aaron said, "It's a fine balance of how much do you show early. I can tell you that there are a lot of other projects happening for Xbox with a lot of big titles that we're not talking about today."
And he actually wasn't the only one to make comments like that. Xbox boss Phil Spencer communicated something similar about some secret unannounced games following E3 as well.
Speaking with Waypoint at the convention, Spencer said that those big new IPs exist, they're just not really a reason to show them yet. Spencer said, "We are investing in new things. We signed things just recently that I thought, hey, from a PR standpoint, it would be really easy for me to put a trailer on the screen. But then I know the game is not coming for another 2.5 or 3 years, so I don't want to do that."
Which I kind of appreciate
Good
because
on you.
I really like the newer model we're seeing with a lot of announcements where it's announced and then it's out in a couple of months. You don't have to wait for years and years and years and wonder what happened to it.
You don't watch it at E3 multiple times?
Yeah, but the end result of that is that then we don't have all of the announcements and then re-announcements and then re-announcements for several years, which can make the slate look thinner than it is necessarily in comparison. So right now, we've got a couple of sources saying that these exclusives may not be coming, others saying that they are. However, we do at least know Halo 6 and Gears of War 5 are coming in some form or another because Spencer's also said he's seen the next projects from each studio and both are amazing. Also, not sure those were not like those franchises were in question.
Of course. So Microsoft might not be completely jumping into all the new IPs that we'd want, but hey, at least we know the old stalwarts are doing all right. We also know that they're gearing up for a project similar to Horizon Zero Dawn based on some recent job postings.
Of course, like always, gonna be a waiting game to see whether or not Microsoft delivers on what they say or if this insider is right about the investments or lack thereof in brand new exclusives and first-party efforts, or maybe it's a scale thing. Maybe they'll do smaller titles that don't require teams of hundreds and hundreds of developers to get out.
Yeah, could
Possibly.
be. Well, what do you guys think about the rumors that Microsoft isn't making big changes to how it invests in exclusives? Let us know in the comments.
And for future updates on Xbox, remember to like this video and subscribe to the Now.
Means is that despite some of their recent talk, Microsoft might not be investing in all new IPs in the way they've been sort of led.
Matt said, sorry.
Last month, head of Xbox marketing Aaron Greenberg said there are a couple of, in an interview with Game Rate, but then I know the